Utah Hockey Club beats Chicago to round out their 3-game road trip. We're going to update the wild card watch for you and talk about what's important next on the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.
You are Locked On Utah Hockey Club, your daily podcast on the Utah Hockey Club, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome in once again to the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. I'm veteran NHL voice Tom Callahan, joined by longtime team analyst Robyn Leaño, and we are here every single day talking about the Utah Hockey Club. Thanks for making us your first listen. We appreciate you being here. And hey, tell your friends if you haven't already about the show. The more the merrier. We've been getting a lot of comments on social media lately, so thank you for that. We're going to get into a little bit of that, Robyn. I know as we get down the stretch here. And a road trip that, I don't know, at the outset, I was saying you kind of got to go 3 for 3 here. It started with an incredibly disappointing 8-0 loss to Tampa. You do get an overtime point against the defending Stanley Cup champs, and you finally break through against Chicago with a 5-2 win. So 3 out of 6 possible points, but at this point of the year, just based on the standings, and we're going to get into that in a little bit, I just don't know if that's going to be good enough.
No, it's not. And you and I mean, you already said it, Tom. Like, we kind of wanted to see him go 3 for 3. And I even said going 5 of 6 points would be okay. I'd be like, okay, that's at least a step in the right direction. It's still going to be tough, but I think they can manage. They'll be able to at least keep up with the rest of the pack. And they didn't even get that. And I mean, they came out of this road trip having only gotten 3 of a possible 6 points.
And against Chicago today, they actually fell behind 2-1. Then they scored 2 very quickly towards the end of the second period. And it did change the momentum of the game. They ended up winning 5-2. So not at the end, it wasn't a struggle. But for a little while there, I mean, Chicago was getting great goaltending. And, you know, the Utah Hockey Club, speaking of goaltending, Karel Vejmelka starting again. Robyn, how many is that in a row?
17 straight starts.
Yikes. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
And talking about some of those comments we've been getting, a lot of fans are starting to wake up to what we've been talking to about the player management, the time management, especially when it comes to the goaltenders. And again, I thought today was the chance out of this road trip to put in Jackson Stauber, get him a start at Chicago, one of the worst teams in the NHL. You have to have the confidence to put your backup in at some point. And I don't know what changed, Robyn. That's the other thing. What are they afraid of with Stauber? Did something happen? Or I don't know why.
I mean, I was wondering,
guy, why is he there?
I was wondering that question when they called up Matt Villalta from Tucson. And I'm like, okay, there's got to be something. Did they not have confidence in Stauber or what?
Yeah.
Like, did the Edmonton game break him?
And I don't see how, because that game was so
not his fault.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't either goaltender's fault.
No, it
was just like Tampa Bay was not the goaltender's fault. It's a defensive issue. But so to your point, and also the same thing I think I'm trying to say is I don't see what went wrong, that they either don't trust him, he fell out of favor, or whatever. I don't know where that would have happened. And so now, is he out? You know, that's a question we're going to have to talk about here once we get into the off-season portion of the program. But I mean, it's coming up now, so I'm putting it on everyone's radar. But that it seems weird to me.
I have a feeling, maybe this is just me also being very, conspiracy or whatever. And I'm trying to find out the right term for it. But I have a feeling that we'll find out something on the locker room clean-out day. That's kind of when a lot of extra news just it just airs out, and like, oh, that's why.
That could be interesting. And as you mentioned, I mean, Stauber went back down. He is a Group 6 UFA coming up this year. He's not a full UFA until 26-27. So Group 6 is, if several conditions are met, the player can become a Group 6 free agent. And really quick, I don't want to dive too far into it, but they have to be at least 25 or older when their contract ends. And that is calculated June 30th of the expiring contract year. To be Group 6 eligible, you have to have played less than 80 career NHL games. And for goalies, it's 28 with 30 or more minutes of ice time. And you have to have 3+ professional seasons. So that's what a Group 6 free agent is. So he is coming up on that for 25-26. Maybe, I don't know if that's going to have anything to do with it, but it just seems weird to me, Robin. It really seems strange that it's not like he's making a ton of money, and he wouldn't be in line to make a lot more money. 775 is the number for both him and for Villalta. So I don't know. It strikes me as odd. And you're right. I feel like there's a lot more to this than meets the eye that we're probably going to find out a little bit later on.
Yeah, and it is interesting seeing all that, and I'm like, I understand a little bit of Andre Tourigny's reasoning, like at first. Now it's getting a little, okay, what's going on here? But at first I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. You're trying to make a push for the playoffs. You want to just put, you want to put your best, the guy that you have the most trust in. But at 17 straight starts, as I said last week, and I'll say it again, and I probably said a number of times already, saying, like, you don't, like, even if by some miracle Utah makes it in, we'll get to the whole wild card watch later, but even if by some miracle, like, at this point, what's, like, you're now increasing the risk that he gets injured, and you have to start Villalta or Stauber. And what, are they going to have any confidence because they sat him out for 17 plus, 20 plus, however many plus games?
Right. And that's just it. So you're basically running veg into the ground at this point, which is not healthy for him physically. And that's the other thing we pointed out. I don't know. It's just, I don't know if your plan is, if you fall out of the playoffs, that all of a sudden you're going to hand all the rest of the starts off and just let the guy hang out and go to the beach for a week or what. But
and here's the other thing too. And you mentioned it also last week, Tom, and it's not just a goalie thing. I think it's a hockey player thing. Veg isn't going to go to Tourigny and say, hey, I need a break.
Right.
Hockey players don't do that. They're like, you need me, coach? Okay, I'll play another game. You want even a skater would be, you need to play a full 60 minutes? Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, your arm's off. That's just a flesh wound. It just, yeah. So I don't know. It again, I'm sure we'll hear more what's going on beyond the goaltending mysteries a little bit later on. Just running through the scoring wrap real quick here, Robin, from this game. Nothing happened until the second period. Utah did score first. Hey, Nick DeSimone, first goal of the year with Olli Maatta out. And actually do want to mention, Robin, that we do know with Maatta, quick injury update here. Ta-da! Day-to-day. So was considered game time for today. Did not go. Lower body injury. Did not play against Chicago. So not having him in the lineup. DeSimone draws in, and DeSimone scores. So that's awesome. Good for Nick DeSimone. Then Chicago scores twice. Leaño and Donato. And that Donato goal, I mean, holy cow, there were a lot of white jerseys standing around the crease. And it was a third attempt. So first shot was stopped. Second shot was stopped. Third one goes in. Will somebody please help veg out? But then Utah at least comes back. They scored twice, 25 seconds apart, Sergachev and Kerfoot, and it goes from down 2-1 to up 3-2. And in the third, Yamamoto gets his first. So nice job there for Kyler Yamamoto to get his. And then Cooley wraps it up with an absolute snipe at 12:54, his 22nd. Utah shoots Chicago 31-29. Only one power play for Utah. They go 0 for 1. Chicago 0 for 4 in the game. And honestly, Robin, I mean, just as we kind of throw the stats up here a little bit, giveaways, takeaways, actually no takeaways for Chicago in this game today, 15 hits. So kind of your Sunday stroll in the park. A bit of a no-hitter here for this one, but it's a win, and it keeps Utah's spirits up. It keeps them alive and keeps them going. So, it's not over yet. Although, if you look at the Western Conference standings, you'll see the little E next to everybody's name is starting to creep higher and higher. It's now next to the Seattle Kraken, and it just feels like the Flames that are creeping up, and eventually they're going to, not the Calgary Flames, by the way, they're not creeping up, that eventually are going to catch up with the Utah Hockey Club, but they're still going. This is an important win.
Fight. As the little GIF goes, so you're telling me you're telling me there's a chance.
Exactly. We are telling you there's a chance. What kind of chance? Well, we're going to get into that wild card watch here in just a second. And today's show is brought to you in part by FanDuel. Hey, March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. I'll tell you what, my underdogs, some of them did work out. Some of them actually did me well in my pool a little bit earlier, but now we know it's chalked out to the Final Four, all 1 seeds remaining. Well, if your bracket's busted, you could still stay in the action because with the games happening, there's always something exciting to bet on. Plus, the app is so simple to use. And when you win, you get paid instantly. There is no waiting around, which is awesome. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño here with you on the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. Please subscribe if you like what you hear. Give us the thumbs up on YouTube as well. Helps us with the algorithm, but we appreciate the subscribers. Seeing the growth here, it's been great. The last couple of months, Robyn, numbers have really started to tick upward as I think Utah is catching more and more of this hockey fever thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing a lot of, we're seeing the growth on this show in terms of just the sheer numbers of people tuning in, the number of subscribers returning, as well as the number of people interacting with us on, on the videos and on socials, chatting with us, asking us questions, giving us their own thoughts, kind of looking for us as one of your go-to sources for all things Utah Hockey Club. And we're glad to be here for it.
Absolutely. And your comments are going to come into play more and more down the stretch here. We absolutely encourage the comments, the feedback, good, bad, ugly, whatever you're thinking right now in the Utah Hockey Club. Certainly drop us a note, let us know. And you know what? I mean, we have plenty to talk about coming up in the shows here. Even once the regular season ends, there's a lot that's going to be going on. Robyn, go ahead, Robyn.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Robyn, I want to kind of jump in with this wildcard watch thing here because we've been talking about this down the stretch, and I talk about the E's, meaning eliminated, that are appearing more and more in the standings here. And as we take a look, as of the 30th, March 30th, which is a Sunday, and folks are catching this on Monday, March 31st. So actually, this is of pretty much the same. The standings will be the same Monday morning. Right now, Utah's not out of it, but a 9-point gap. They have 8 games to play. And I illustrate this gap by, I'll throw this out. So with 8 games to play, if you go 8-0, that's 16 points. So that's going to put you at 94. 94 points is your max, okay? That's, again, if you go perfect the rest of the way. So that means at 87 points for both Minnesota and St. Louis, they really only need to pick up 8 more to lock you out and get to 95. That's 4 wins. So what you need, this is the kind of help you need, is not only do you need Vancouver and Calgary to fall apart, you need Minnesota and St. Louis to each only win 3 of their remaining games. In Minnesota, 74 played just like Utah. St. Louis has 1 more played like Utah, but you're really counting on these teams to crash and burn in order for you to be able to get in. So the math is bleak. It's not completely out of hand, but look at St. Louis's schedule coming up. Detroit, April 1st. Pittsburgh, April 3rd. Colorado again. Okay, that's a tough opponent, but I just don't see that helping the Utah Hockey Club. So as a matter of fact, I see St. Louis maybe even leapfrogging Minnesota.
Yeah, that very well could happen. Minnesota's, I mean, we've already talked about it. They've kind of been faltering quite a lot. They've been in close to free fall mode. They were able to capture a little bit of points back, but now St. Louis is poised to pass them, though. I mean, if there is something that happens, let's say Vancouver and Calgary, completely free for all, Utah goes perfect. There's a chance Minnesota just completely falls flat. That's the only way I can see it, because St. Louis is way too easy for a schedule down the road.
They do. They coming out of Four Nations, I think, had the easiest strength of schedule out of all 32 teams, and it's allowed them to go on a run. Interesting thing, though, I said Vancouver is going to fall out, and Vancouver is out. They're 6 points out right now, but they have a chance to get 4 of it back with Seattle and Anaheim games this week. And really, Robyn, the most clutch game this week, as far as Utah goes, has got to be April 1st against Calgary. That game is massive.
It is absolutely massive, because since that's the next game up, I mean, yeah, sure, Calgary still has 2 games in hand from Utah's, but that still is a chance for Utah to get those 2 extra absolutely crucial points.
And that's really Utah's only chance against Calgary the rest of the way. Of the teams they're trying to beat in the playoff race, the only 2 they're playing are Calgary and then the last day of the season, St. Louis. Other than that, I mean, this 5-game homestand is Calgary Tuesday, Kings Thursday, Jets Saturday. Those are going to be 2 tough games. Then Seattle next Tuesday, the 8th, and the Predators on the 10th. But anything less than 5-0 on this homestand, I mean, maybe 4-0-1. Again, we're asking this team to go perfect to hope that St. Louis and Minnesota kind of fall apart.
Yeah, it's a really tough ask, and this team is not really inspired me a lot to give them hope that they will do it. And I feel like a lot of odds makers and a lot of statisticians and everyone kind of roughly agree with that statement. I'll even say it straight up, Tom. I'm looking on Money Puck right now, because I've mentioned to people already. Might as well kind of just continue the trend of telling them where they're at. Utah's chances of making the playoffs currently stand at 0.7%.
Robyn, what did you tell me earlier before we started the show here? We were just chatting before we kicked it off, and you said that they have a better chance of winning the draft lottery than making the playoffs.
They have actually, yes, that is true. I looked on tankathon.net, which is a draft lottery simulator. And the Utah Hockey Club has a better chance at winning the lottery for the NHL draft lottery than they do to make the playoffs. 0.7% to make the playoffs, 1.5% to win the draft lottery, which, by the way, as a heads up, based off where Utah is in the standings, wouldn't get them first overall. Based off draft lottery rules, it would only move up 10 spots from where they're at, and they're only 14 in, so their highest they'll go is 4.
It's actually a very important distinction for folks to know. Now, if Utah does end up losing down the stretch and they fall far enough, Robyn, I think it's 11th is the last team that can move up to number 1. Is that? Yeah. So
12 to 16 can, and then 12 to 16 can move up 10 spots. And then if they win, then whoever has the worst record, that would be the San Jose Sharks currently, they would get the first overall pick. That one locked in. And then whoever won the lottery, they say in that 12 to 16 spot, they would move up their 10, and that's the spot they get locked into.
So we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of hockey to be played between now and then, and a lot of decisions to be made on players and what's going to happen in the offseason. There's plenty to get to. So that's why I want to talk about what's important. Robyn and I are going to get to that right after this.
And today's episode is brought to you by Post District. Discover Post District, home to 4 of Salt Lake's newest and most stylish apartment buildings. The Register, Post House North, Post House South, and 801 Flats. Each residence offers its own unique take on luxury urban living with features like waterfall, kitchen islands, floor-to-ceiling windows, vaulted ceilings, and spacious patios, as well as walk-in closets. Enjoy premium amenities including the city's largest residential gym, a year-round pool, golf simulator, massive TV wall for sports watch parties, and more, all anchored by a one-of-a-kind community. Step outside and find yourself immersed in Salt Lake's hottest dining and nightlife scene with award-winning spots like Urban Hill, Mentor Robin, Level Crossing, Melancholy Wine Bar, and Sunday's Best just steps away. Whether you're looking for a studio, 1, 2, 3 bedroom, or even a penthouse, find your perfect home today. Visit liveatpost.com or call 801-590-6247. Mention this ad for an exclusive incentive.
Back here on the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast, Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño here with you. Thank you for sticking around here with us. And Robyn, what is important? I think that's a big topic. It's a nebulous topic. It can be. There's a million different things that are important. I mean, getting enough sleep is important. Hydration is important. Mental health is important, right? But when it comes to the mental health of the Utah Hockey Club and its fan base, or the physical health, what is important down the stretch? And let's not look too far ahead. I don't want to get into the offseason or the draft or free agency. What's important right now?
Ooh, to me, that's a good question. I think, to me, Tom, I think, I always like to take a look at, to me, when it comes to grounding yourself, taking a look at where you are currently, right? We didn't expect this team to, we hyped them up, right? We hyped them up. We said, maybe they'll make it into a playoff spot. And they actually did that. They kind of came pretty close, right? They flirted for a spot for a really, really long time. But I feel like a lot of people still underestimated them. A lot of people still kind of thought this was still a low remnant of the Arizona Coyotes, the little stepbrother that could never make it in, that no one ever cared about. And the Utah Hockey Club made some noise this year. And actually was very well talked about, not just because they were the new team, but because they had the talent.
Yes, that has been an important point that sometimes gets lost in the shuffle. I know there's some grumbling going on right now, right? I mean, the team's kind of not winning and you look like you're falling out of the playoff race. It is important to talk about the steps forward that were taken this year, and about, I think the defense getting healthy is huge too, but you have a bunch of learning curves in process.
Yeah.
That is really what is happening right now with a lot of these younger players and a lot of this team finally getting together to play together. And some nights you lose 8-0 to Tampa. But steps forward this year in a big way for a guy like Logan Cooley, who I think, and Dylan Guenther, who I think those guys are a big part of the future. They're a bright spot in the future of this organization. So I like seeing them moving forward a little bit. There's been some interesting ones this year too. I mean, really, you have to sort out now, what are you going to do? So I'll just throw a name out there because I know you were high on talking about him before, but Matias Maccelli, down the stretch, he's got to sort himself out a little bit here. He's been in the press box on and off, and that's not good when you're making $3.425 million. And he's RFA 26-27. I'm not saying he's necessarily going anywhere. He's only 24. He's still got some upside, but I need to see a little more out of him, right? I think that's a big one. I think you have to be realistic about Nick Bjugstad. And at age 32, is he coming back again for another go around with this team? Jack McBain is another guy. I think down the stretch, I love McBain, right? I want him sticking around. I like him. I like his game. I think they really need him. Yes. They need more of that, really.
Yes. I mean, we talked about it, right? How many times have we talked about the size of this team, and we need more of physicality? You need to take advantage of the fact that they are a much bigger team than the next one.
We haven't seen that. much this year. Not much at all, and certainly not with Spicy Tuna out of the lineup. He's been the straw that stirs the drink, and he's a bargain at $1 million. I know he sat for a long while this year, but ever since he came back and until he got hurt, I really liked Liam O'Brien's game. And when he was in the lineup, there was a definite difference in this Utah hockey club. They need a couple more fire plug type guys. Can McBain be that guy? Or can a Barrett Hayton fill that role? Or, another guy they're going to have to see something out of, Michael Carcone at 28 years old. He's a bargain player, but he's a UFA next year. So, hey, down the stretch, we talked about guys coming in this year on contract years, and like Veg, for instance, played his way into a nice extension, deservedly so. Mata got an extension. Cole's going to be back for another year, and I know we're talking defense, and really the focus in this talk is on the forwards, but when do we start to hear decisions on the forwards? I think they can influence it still over this next 2.5 weeks of hockey, whether they stay or they go.
Yeah, there will be a lot of I feel like a lot of them probably know that at this point, and they're going to try to do what they can with whatever they have left. Maybe they'll at this point kind of realize, okay, maybe this team's not going to the playoffs, but these players can at least give themselves a chance at a better contract, and also if they want to stay with the Utah Hockey Club and kind of prove themselves that way, or another aspect, just get themselves a good value with whoever their new team might be, because at the end of the day, Utah's not going to just be like, we love loyalty, so we're going to keep you guys no matter what. Like that's not how it works in sports. I mean, it'd be nice if that's how it worked, but especially if hockey, it's got still relatively low salary cap here, and they got to work with something.
Yeah, absolutely. And Robert Bortuzzo's been activated off the IR, so I'm looking forward to seeing where he's going to be at. He's missed quite a bit of action here, but coming back in, especially if Mata, it says day to day, he was supposed to be game time today. Of course, we don't know the extent of anything, but if he's going to be out a little bit, maybe Bortuzzo gets another turn, although DeSimone scoring a goal certainly helps his case there. But, maybe you're taking a look at Bortuzzo at 36. Do you bring him back in, or at 36, do you say, hey, give us what you can to the end of the year, and we'll talk to you later? These guys coming down the stretch, like Bortuzzo's playing for a job anywhere next year if he gets in. And DeSimone might be too at 775 and a pending UFA here in the summer. So I think these next couple of weeks are crucial for players trying to decide where they want to go. The other one, I'm going to open it up, and we have to start talking about it. I don't think the seat's warm for Andre Tourigny, but I'm starting to wonder if it should be.
Yeah, I've seen comments of fans putting a lot of question into it. I don't think it's that serious yet with what some of the fans have been asking for, but I feel like there is at least becoming a slight cast shadow of a little bit of doubt. Is wondering, is like, okay, based off just a number of decisions. I think one being the decision around starting Veg 17 games in a row. But in general, I think the question was brought up. I'm not sure who it was from, but it was from somebody that came up, and they just asked. They pretty much said, yeah. I mean, it definitely felt like that Tourigny was the guy to kind of get this rebuild going and spark the rebuild, but is he the guy to bring him into the next step? And to me that felt like a valid question, because it's not like it's saying, hey, we should fire him, but it's more of saying that's a question we should be asking. Is he the guy to take them in the next step?
One thing that occurs to me is that for Utah to win, they have to play their best game. Mm-hmm. And no one plays their best game 82 games. No one. You just don't. That's life. You're up, you're down. on ice, off ice. Maybe you had a bad meal. Maybe your girlfriend or wife or whatever is bugging you. Like there's things
Yep.
happen. Your dog might be sick. And things get in your head. So you don't have a perfect game 82 games in a row. Utah has to have a perfect game, it seems like, in order to win most of the time, except against maybe the lowest of the low. So is there another coach out there, or would a change, maybe the answers in the organization or outside the organization, is there another coach who could take what is a talent-laden roster and get more out of it on a consistent basis to where their average is raised and they don't have to be their best selves every night and can still find ways to win hockey games? Defensively, I think the team's been porous all year.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it's been due to the run and gun nature of the players themselves. But some of it, again, go back and look at that second Chicago goal tonight. 3 whacks at it before Donato scores, and there's 4 white jerseys within 5 feet of the goal crease. What's going on? So those are the things I question. And I just wonder if systematically, if things were different, if this team would find different results, even just a different voice in the room. But Robyn, if you're not getting into the playoffs now in year 2, 3, 4, 5 of this rebuild, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So,
and I think especially if you come close and then just stumble and just stall completely, like you like they completely run out of gas, right? It's like it's like it looked like let's say the gas meter was looked like it was like a little more than halfway. It's like, oh, I think we're gonna do it, and then they tap the meter and realize, oh, we're actually empty.
Yeah, that and again, that could be management, minute management, workout management, on and off ice programs. Are they getting enough days off? Are they getting enough rest? Are they getting the right nutrition, the right workout program? There's so many things that go into it. So I don't know. Those are questions, but I want to hear from the fans. What do you guys think? I'm going to open the can of worms. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Is it time for a change there? What other changes would you make?
Like I said though, I'll say one more time, Tom, is I do believe that the Arizona Coyotes at the time made the right decision in hiring Andre Tourigny. I'm all for one of actually adding some change rather than recycling the same old dudes. Right?
So you're saying you don't want John Tortorella as the next
I don't
coach
want
of
John
Utah Hockey
Tortorella.
Club?
I don't want a Todd McClellan. I don't want a Mike Babcock. I don't want a Joel Quenneville. I don't want those same guys.
Well, I absolutely don't want the last two.
Exactly.
But I'm also not a big McClellan guy either. So I understand that. But all right, well, we'll see. We'll see, Robyn. Hey, give us your thoughts. Reach out to us on social. Drop comments on the YouTube side. Let us know what you think. And Robyn, where can folks find us on social media?
They can find us just about everywhere. We could, particularly most active on the app formerly known as Twitter at LO_NHL Utah. You can find me also on that app at Robyn_Leaño. I'm also on Blue Sky, not as active there, but you can find me there at Robyn Ice Time.
If you happen to be more of a Blue Sky person, I'm probably the one you want to find at Tom Talks, because that's where I am 90% of the time. At Callahan on air on Twitter as well. So if you wanted to touch base with us, please do so. We love getting the comments. We love seeing what you're thinking. Good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. I mean, everything is noticed and we read it, and we, try to do our best to either get back to you right away or incorporate it into our shows. So we definitely appreciate you being a part of things. And we have a lot of hockey to talk about. Utah Hockey Club is coming back home. 5-game homestand starts this week. Robyn and I will have game previews, game reviews, everything looking back, and hopefully some good news when it comes to this playoff race here relatively soon. So thanks for joining us, everybody. For Robyn, I'm Tom. This has been the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.